So in this lesson I'm going to walk you through making an animated GIF in Adobe Photoshop. Now I will say Adobe is not the ideal program for animation, but this is more of just some fun experimenting you can do because Photoshop is a really good image creation and editing program. And so this could be a very complex way in which, or a very um, thorough way in which you can make edits to images and change them over time. And so we're just going to go ahead and hit new in here. I'm just going to create my own custom size. And so I'm just doing 7 by 5 at 72 ppi. Hit OK. So that's going to give us this image here. Alt scroll, let us sort of scroll in. And so I'm just going to create a new layer in here. Okay. And I'm going to grab my brush. I'm going to choose, let's try that color. On my brush, I'm going to make it a hard brush. Right? And I'm going to scale it up in size. And I'm going to do that, you can do that with the bracket keys, the open close brackets above the enter key. I'm just doing that so I can actually create a ball shape just by clicking a single dot. Right. Actually, let me see if I can make my brush even harder. Looks like that's the hardest. I guess that's probably just our resolution making it look blurry. Okay, that's alright. So I've done that. And so now I have a single layer that can turn that on and off, right? And I can fill my fill layer if I want to with my background color with a color as well. That way we're more consistent, right? Okay, so now we have something like this. We're going to open up a new menu. Okay, we're going. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and create a couple new layers. Go ahead and do layer 2, 3, 4. Let's try that 4. So on layer 2, I'm going to draw another dot. I'm going to draw it here. 3. I'm going to draw another dot and draw it here. And 4. I'll draw another dot and draw it here. Okay. And so here's the thing I want you to recognize. You can turn these off. Okay, so each of those dots are kind of happening, and they all kind of look like the same dot. So if they're just turning on and off, it kind of looks like they're moving around the screen a little bit, right? Now that's just sort of some basics of how we work as a human being. Like, we're not used to seeing things disappear from existence and respawn somewhere else. So if we close our eyes, or something disappears out of our view and then comes back somewhere else, we just assume it moved, right? So we're going to leverage that that sort of ability of the human eye to make those assumptions, or the human brain to make those assumptions. We're going to leverage that to create sort of some simple animations. So I'm going to go to window first, because we're actually needing a different window open. We go to timeline, and as long as I have something open here, I should have this option down here in the bottom to create a video timeline. Okay, now if I click that though, that's going to give us something different than what I'm wanting right now. Instead, I want to do create a frame animation. And so when I click create frame animation, I'm just going to resize it, but yeah, so now we're going to get these. Can I not make that bigger? I guess not. It's going to get this little window here. Okay. Now the thing you can see is I can actually add additional ones. This is actually going to duplicate the first one if I do. But what I can do is I can turn on, for this timeline, I can turn on frame 1. Right? And if I click this button and duplicate it, well, it also has frame or layer 1 turned on. And so I can turn it off and turn on layer 2. And so what you'll see is as I flip back and forth between 1 and 2, it's just changing which layer is on during that frame. Okay? And if I hit play, it's just going to play through it. Okay? It's just playing through it once. I can click this little drop down button here, have it play through it 3 times, or have it loop forever, which is more likely what most people usually do with a GIF. Now that may be playing a little faster than I want it to, But here's the thing, it's set to 0 seconds. It's set to hold that frame for 0 seconds. So it's going to play that as fast as it can, and if it's playing it on a faster computer, then it's going to fly. It's going to just be a flicker. Right? And so I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to change that 0 seconds to something more like 0.2 seconds. Okay? And so that's a more consistent frame rate. So I'm going to just add a couple more. No, I don't want to add another one of those. Sorry. I'm going to add another layer here and there. And on 3, I'll turn off 2, turn on 3. On 4, turn off 2, turn on 4. And so now if we watch it, we have an animation of that. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how our eye interprets that, though, because this could be a couple of different things. We're missing some information here, right? To be able to properly, say what this motion is, okay? Because it could either be a ball bouncing, or it could be a ball traveling in a zigzag, or it could be a ball swooping down, like making a W, right? Or making part of a W. And so it's really up to us as the animator to define what is actually happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and add another layer in between frame 1 and 2. I'm going to turn off layer 1. I'm going to create a new layer. And on that layer, I'm going to add another dot up here. Okay. And so on layer 1, that dot is on 2. So I have to, there we go. So don't want it on 1, want it on 2. Okay. And now in between these two, I'll add another one. Okay. Turn off layer 2. Layer 6. Layer 3. So I'll put the other dot up here close to where it was. Right. Oh goodness. That's always the problem, is that it wants to turn on all the layers. And so you have to go back and turn it off on all those other layers. It's probably a cleaner way of doing that, though. Yeah, it puts it on all the previous layers. And so that'll be 2, 6. There we go. And so now if we were to watch that animation, that feels more like a bounce, right? Now we're missing one still yet. I would go ahead and add another one here. Let's see, where was that at? Put another one like there. Alright. And so I'll have to turn it off on some of these other layers. But if I hit play now, of course, which one did I miss? No. Oh, I think I forgot to add a... There we go. So now we have like more of a bouncing ball, right? And so just by changing those dots, or adding these additional dots that put a dot there and there on the other side of this one, and adding a dot that sort of favored this first drawing, right? I sort of changed the way this works, or the way this looks, as an animation. So whatever you do, like, it doesn't matter. We just have to make a whole bunch of different changes over time, right? And our eye will start to see that as animation, but we are in control of how that is interpreted, right? Because I could change this dot if I wanted to. Set this to auto select, move this down here instead, and this is completely going to change the way that animation looks, right? it's going to look, it's like making sort of like an S shape, right? And so that really is in your control. I don't know. Stuff overhead, stuff overhead. I don't know what I've done there. Okay, I'm going to go all the way back to the one before I moved it. There we go. So whenever I'm ready to save this out as a GIF, you have to export it out in a slightly different way. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Export, and Save for the Web Legacy. There's probably another way of doing this too, but this is the one I'm going to use right now. And so you'll be able to see your animation in here. Right? You'll also be able to see like what size it's going to be. It's going to be really small. It's just 8 kilobytes for that. Because GIFs are very simple. We're only using 256 colors, and in this case I probably don't even need that many. I probably could get away with almost like 4 colors, right? And so, you know, we don't really see that much of a change. And you see that got us all the way down to 3 kilobytes. But I'll go ahead and leave it 256 just because. And I'll hit save. And I can just give this a name. We'll call it ball GIF. And save that on, you know, wherever you want to. Now, what I have now is this ball GIF, and you'll see that if I have a blank Chrome window, I can just drag that ball GIF in there, and we should be able to watch it. Okay. So this is, and if you uploaded this to like Google Plus or some other website, you would see it as a GIF as well. So I want to show you that you can do this with any image and any changes you want to make to that image. So I drag this in here. So I don't know how this works. There it goes. If I drag this in here, I have just a rough picture of my face, right? And so I can create a frame animation of that. And all I have to do is duplicate this image and make changes to it. Okay, so I duplicated it. And then if I wanted to go in here and, you know, erase something, I could. I can mark over it or something, right? But I'm going to show you a couple of other options. One of them is under this filter. There's the Liquify tool. And so the Liquify tool is going to give us the option to really just smudge a bunch of stuff, right? So I can make my head like that. Okay. And so now on frame 2, I can just make my head a little bloatier, right? And so again, I'll set that to loop forever. Right. Now, another thing we could do, add another, let me put there, I want to put it there. I'm going to duplicate this layer, put it a little higher. That Liquify tool has a lot of other options in here. It also has like a pinch option. You can pinch your face in there really small, right? So that could be right. And I can also, duplicate that layer again, pull it up to the top, turn it off on all these except for last one. Right. And so I want to show you, and we could also do other things to it, like we have a bloat tool, right? And so again, you're just going to get these weird face deformations on me. Um, One last thing that we can add in here is if I wanted to take this up to the top. I can also add something called the puppet tool. So I want to show you that. That's a neat tool. It works much better when you have a separate layer, right? So let's do this really quick. I'm going to duplicate this layer. I just put it in all of it. Yeah, it did. That's so frustrating. If I wanted to go out here on the end and just on this layer, I could erase my background, right? I could erase all this stuff out here. You'll see this once I hide everything else, right? I could erase all of this stuff, make it a little bit bigger. And this is a very sloppy way of going about this. You would obviously be much cleaner about this whole process. I'm just showing you this to give you the tool, right? I can also go in here on this layer and I can go to Edit, Puppet Warp. And so that's going to sort of turn my body here into this mesh, and I can put these points on it. Okay, and now with those points, after I've added them, I can wiggle my head around, right? So I could do something like, oh, I mean, I know you're starting to see the other head behind me. I could get something like that, right? And when I hit apply, it makes that change. Hey, Greg was hiding behind me all along. How you doing? And so now you're gonna, so those changes happening, and this is not sensical in any way, but you get the idea. So anything you want to do in here, you can just turn any sequence of images into some form of motion. And so this is a very simple way of doing it. So, okay, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.